jellyfish, shalom, and welcome back to A.S.K. Ben 10 has had a lot of aliens, some good, some bad, and some worse. As the Ben 10 ranking dude, I think it's about time for me to rank all the Ben 10 classic aliens as part 1 of this 4-part series, ranking all the aliens show by show, and eventually doing every single alien ranked in a massive final video. With no other real explanation needed, let's start at the bottom of the barrel. The worst classic alien by far has to be Buzzshock. An electricity alien was probably well needed in this show, and being a small annoying battery concept does sound intriguing on its own, until you actually execute it and realize it's an idiotic idea that gets incredibly infuriating to watch, with the annoying voice, face, and attitude it gives Ben. His design only gets worse with time, and it wasn't even that good to begin with. Buzzshock is definitely shocking in how terrible he is, conceptually and executionally. Never liked this one from the start. They just needed a werewolf alien in Ben 10 where he slowly grows hairy and rabid throughout the episode, and they needed an alien that will shoehorn Kai into the mix and create all sorts of annoying platitudes there. Ben Wolf or Blitzwolfer's powers are limited to being a fast dog or wolf, and having a sonic howl, which I'll admit is kinda cool, but the way he does it is basically improved by A.S.K, and the way his mouth folds open always made me cringe. Seriously, why does his mouth rip into pieces? Also, I never liked the design for this one. His legs are like abnormally skinny, and he has weird shaped torso and arms. Yeah, let's just move on because I hate Ben Wolf. The second worst Halloween alien this show spewed out was Ben Victor, or Frankenstrike, who was just an electricity alien, masquerading as some sort of Dr. Frankenstein ripoff. It's just so basic, I'm sorry. I expected more from the Ben 10 crew, who somehow made an alien so unthinkably overused in popular culture that it almost feels unfit in the Ben 10 alien roster, and would change little to nothing if it was removed. Mummy alien. Not gonna lie, I prefer what they did with this one in Omniverse, but generally, this alien is super bland and mid. Not much powers aside from basically being extendable rope, and I find his entire character's persona and backstory to be predictable and boring. Not much for this one except boring. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this one, but I think among the original 10 roster, Ripjaws is the weakest among the bunch. I do like how he's the water alien, especially since a bunch of the other 10 are basically not allowed to go anywhere near water, but this one is basically allergic to anything not water. So what's really better here? His entire concept is boring aside from having strong teeth, even stronger than Wildmite I assume, but even then, the whole fish concept doesn't really intrigue me. Nothing personal, he does get a cool voice and a bunch of interesting moments to shine, but Ripjaws doesn't really float my boat personally. A.S.K was cooler. I don't quite understand the appeal of creating an alien just to crap on it, but A.S.K was always the butt of every joke since his inception, and it always bugged me. Sure, his concept is throwing up, but who cares? His concept could have been a lot cooler than what they came up with. I do like the frog concept, and how he's a bit shorter and fatter, but I'm generally not a fan of butt monkey characters, and this is probably the biggest one for an alien, aside from probably Waka Trotter, the worst. You know, I don't usually say this, but I have a bit of a soft spot for A.S.K, and find him to be the ideal alien to be introduced in the last special of the series. His powers are pretty iconic, and his design is actually really stylish for the concept. The big eyes surrounded by smaller eyes all over his body are really clever, and the buck face is definitely the right idea. The ironically sad part is that we only get to see this alien for one episode before he's locked away until Omniverse, which really sucks because it means he was generally really overlooked after his only appearance. Overlooked. I risk my case. Ben's smartest alien, supposedly, Grey Matter. Not gonna lie, I like Grey Matter. Considering the Galvans become one of the most important species in the franchise, Grey Matter is certainly important, but as far as powers go, he is a really prime example of more vice than good. I mean, come on, he may be smart, but that's with the hilarious but still weak compromise of being Ben's smallest classic alien, and offering little to no physical advantage in battle. Grey Matter is confined to his brains, and that's fair enough, but don't be mad at me for putting him this low. As a Ben 10 fan, it feels almost illegal to have Ghost Freak this low. Look, I loved all the Ghost Freak episodes, I think they were handled amazingly. I love his design, his voice, and he gets a bunch of awesome powers like intangibility, mind control, and being scary, but those are all just basic ghost powers. Ghost Freak feels incredibly mundane in concept and never strays to anything original from the ghost shtick. Like when they gave him the scary tentacles, that's awesome. Do more of that, because it differentiates him from every other ghost in media. But as it is, Ghost Freak feels predictable and mundane in every aspect. They're all good, and especially when he skips the Omnitrix and makes him the main character for a while. But honestly, how much brain power must it have taken to come up with this concept? Yeah, exactly. A personal guilty pleasure alien of mine, especially with the fantastic introduction episode, Wildvine is a really cool alien with really unique abilities that will later be stolen by aliens to come. He can communicate with plant life, can throw grenade-like clusters on his back, and I mean, come on, his design is so damn good. His abilities speak for themselves, but his general presence and stature gives this one a major advantage in my eyes. I love Cannonbolt. It's a bit of a shame he was nerfed big time in later versions and was always beaten by every bad guy, but in the classic series he was one of my favorites for sure. Just the image of a really bloated fat Ben as he transformed was always funny to see, but aside from that, even his introductory episode is amazing. I mean seriously, The Big Take was a beautiful episode that also happened to introduce Cannonbolt in a pretty serious way. His roly-poly powers are pretty original, and feel like they were among the unorthodox aliens of the roster, meaning they weren't in line with brains, brawn, speed, fire, water, and air. I had heard he had originally planned to replace Ghost Freak as the 10th alien, but was later replaced, which I'm kinda happy about because he didn't really fit with the original 10 playlist, given his more unique power ability. Big props to them though, for giving him the spotlight on the Season 2 theme song, even dropping an adorable little Cannonbolt animation too. Wildmud is probably the simplest alien, even among the entire roster, and honestly, I don't mind that at all. His powers come in handy super often with finding invisible foes, finding clues with his smell, and just biting the crap out of bad guys who it would be cruel to mutilate if not by a dog. I love the idea that his vice is his sense of vision, and how he can only see kind of infrared view of people, and how his eyes are covered when he's sick. He's also Ben's only alien to not talk, and it makes for a lot of fun comedic moments. I love Wildmud and find him to be quite entertaining. It feels kinda unfair to rank this as a classic alien, and we do technically see him first in Secret Omnitrix, while actually with Ben 10,000 episode, but yeah. Wavig is just so badass. Being Ben's biggest alien already renders him an automatic W, but he also acquires certain powers as we see him on screen more. He can shoot lasers when he crosses his arms, he somehow has fantastic finger grip, and he had the most awesome final boss fight out of any of the video games. I mean, come on. In Classic though, as I discussed in my Omniverse Redesigns video, his initial design did look kinda Iron Giant-y and generic, and while I appreciate the red and white a lot, it just looked a bit too predictable. But yeah, he didn't really get any other powers aside from being the tall dude who threw Vilgax into the Andromeda Galaxy. Upgrade is probably my favorite simplistic design for an alien in the show, aside from maybe Goop. His simple black, white, and green design is so slick and looks absolutely awesome, and the fact that the galvanic mechamorph transformation retains Ben's personal voice is a nice touch that is later explained scientifically, but as the classic series, it just sounds cool with a robotic filter over it. His powers are also awesome, being able to manipulate technology, cars, and even trains is a really cool idea, and the fact that he merges with it in the way he does, and not use Wi-Fi or some crap like that, makes Upgrade a really unique alien that would definitely diminish the show with its absence. While Stinkfly later is known as one of the weaker aliens in the roster, I think he was pretty badass in the classic series at least. Not only is he Ben's main flying alien, but he can also spit out a sticky goo that he can either swing on or hurt enemies with. He does have quite a few weaknesses, like water for example, but he more than makes up for it with a super menacing design and voice. The voice fits a bug-like alien like this perfectly, and the entire black face with the Omnitrix on it looks really good, albeit always makes me think his eye is the Omnitrix, not the 4 little tentacle things he has. Also the black hands, ugh, so good. I love Stinkfly. Simply being the fastest alien doesn't do it for Accelerate, but it's more of how they executed such a simple idea. Accelerate has a crazy good design that makes so much sense for this power. He's sort of like a weird reptile with a blue and black long tail, but has wheels on his feet and a mask that closes when he runs to cover his face. The pointed head is just the cherry on top, and he certainly looks badass when he's in battle, whether it's his Kraken appearance where he runs on water and does that fast sideways kick, or whether Ben just uses him to get revenge on bullies, or sometimes just tactically retreat from a fight. Overall, Accelerate is a G and one of my favorites. I actually used to dislike him a lot more, but what can I say, he's grown on me a bit since looking back at it. I talked all about Heat Blast in my video comparing him to Swampfire, and honestly there's very little I dislike about this alien. His design is fantastic throughout the franchise, his fire abilities are unparalleled, and except for having the water weakness, he's pretty much Ben's most badass standalone alien considering he doesn't have any unorthodox abilities, and since he was also the first transformation ever, he's just a gem who deserves a number 3 rank. I've heard forearms was the first alien concept they finished on the spot, and it makes a lot of sense. The red alien with 4 arms makes absolutely perfect sense for a brute strength alien, and his overall stature came out fantastic in the end with the voice and design. His powers are pretty limited to his strength, but he gets a bunch of fantastic moments in the show, which are just tasered into my brain, like the bird fight in Washington, D.C., or when him and the other Tetraman save that building from falling down. His transformation sequence is also just so weird and awesome that I just adore it. Everything about this alien is cool, and I always wish I could look like forearms when I was a kid. No wonder Ben wants to use forearms every 2 seconds. Forearms rules. And numero uno on this list is Diamond Head. I just love Diamond Head because, as I discussed with Cannonbolt, Diamond Head stands as the most unorthodox alien in the original 10 playlist, coming off as the main contender in Ben's playlist, kinda like Swampfire was an Alien Force. Diamond Head can shoot diamonds out of his hands, manipulate the shape of his hands to create swords or walls, and can levitate giant diamond boulders out of the ground and drop them on Vilgax's head. Seriously, what the hell was that all about? Let's just teleport through from Moldy Warp's bunker or something? Either way, especially in the classic series, Diamond Head comes off as a massive W in any fight he's in, and he has a great design to go with it, having the beautiful shiny green design, and the awesome powers to go along with it. And that was all the classic Ben 10 aliens ranked. Ultimately, it came down to Forearms, Heat Blast, and Diamond Head for me. But what do you think? Which alien won this battle for you? Which one was the worst alien? Be sure to let me know all that in the comments down below, and please like and subscribe if you did enjoy to support me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you beautiful ladies and jellyfish next time. Shalom!